Now, we're talking about Narayana this morning that has received a license from the IRDA to venture into the healthcare insurance space. Now, this is one of the largest hospital chains, at least listed hospital chains, and the conversation we're going to have today is the rationale behind this move. Is it a complementary business? Does it make sense? Or is there more to this strategy? Viren Shetty is joining us now, Executive Vice Chairman, Narayana Health. Viren, very good morning. Great to speak with you on NDTV Profit. Let's begin by understanding why you want to venture into the health insurance space.
Why not? The thing that most patients complain about is the cost of the surgery. And we spent the last 20 years doing everything we can to bring in efficiencies and reduce the cost. But at the end of the day, you take something that costs 10 lakh rupees, you make it 2 lakh rupees, you make it 200 rupees. It's not something anyone's happy to pay because health expenses are always unexpected and you never feel happy about paying it. But insurance is an expense that everyone is willing to pay monthly. And so this is the only way we feel that we can reduce the cost for our customers by offering it in such a way that you're just paying small amounts every month and we take care of everything else.
It's a tough space to be in. There are 5 standalone insurers. You will be the 6th. Let's start with the plan to begin this. When will you start? What will the rollout look like?
Optimistically, we want to start by Q4. We would start with a pilot program. All in Karnataka. We will start in Bangalore and Mysore with 2 sets of offerings, which are targeted more towards the middle class and lower middle class. And the idea for us is to provide what we call integrated care, which is not just surgeries, because anyone can do that, but for us to be able to offer preventative care, to offer checkups, medicines, outpatient benefits. That is something that will make this very different from what traditionally people would buy online.
Yeah, I was reading an interview with Dr. Viren Shetty, and he also talked about the differentiator will be that you won't have an exclusionary policy on pre-existing diseases. Can you elaborate on that? And if you do that, then how will this be a profitable business?
Well, at this point, profit is almost the last thing on our mind. The most important thing for us is to prove to ourselves that this is something we can do. More health, less insurance. If you run it as an insurance company, obviously you're going to do things like deny people with pre-existing conditions, find any reason to deny a claim. But we are in the healthcare business and we want to offer healthcare to all our customers. And we have a belief that even with someone who has a surgery, who has diabetes, who has a chronic condition, that condition can be managed. Now, it may be more expensive, it may require a lot more work, but that's what we as a hospital organization know how to do. And so if we're able to price it appropriately, we believe that even people with pre-existing conditions can be insured and taken care over long periods of time.
You know, coming to why it's such a tough business, your penetration, I believe, is about, of the sector, is about 1% odd of the population. It makes sense for everyone to have a health insurance and, you know, instead of being stuck with a big bill at the end of it. India has some of the highest out-of-pocket expense rates in the world. How are you going to break that? And as a new player, how are you going to break that?
See, in any forum that I go to and I ask large groups of people, are you happy with the health insurance offering that you have? And it's very rare that you find people that are thrilled with the way it is currently structured. There are teething troubles. There is a way in which things are structured right now that doesn't generate a lot of satisfaction with people who have insurance. So how we're planning to break that is, one, to make something that people love, that is absolutely enjoyable, that provides comprehensive care. And so that people get used to the idea that, yes, insurance is something I should go for, rather than what happens right now where people are just playing dice, where you just say, okay, forget, if it happens to me, I'll go to the hospital and pay. If we can break that mindset and get sufficient people interested in the idea of insurance, that will do something that is of great value and more people will take it up. But right now, it's just not something people feel that they have to have.
And how will you compete with current players? Will you have lower premiums or more competitive premiums or a better tie-up with your own chain of hospitals? How is this a complementary business and how will you compete?
We're not looking to compete on price. This is something that by design will take an older and a more complicated set of people. So this will cost more. But what we're going to do is that this will offer a lot more with tie-ups with our hospitals and our clinics and a lot of online offerings, we will manage the whole experience a lot better than is currently being done. It will operate at a lot smaller scale, and we're starting out in Karnataka for that precise reason, because we can control a lot of the variables there. So we want to compete on the experience. We want to compete on how good you feel about having insurance, and that you want to keep investing in this again and again.
Viren, you said that profits are the last thing on your mind, and I understand that as a a societal need. This is huge, and I'm glad you guys are doing it. But you are a listed company. Your shareholders are going to wonder if this is going to make sense for your core business, which is doing pretty well, which is the hospital chain business. Can you address that?
See, it does not need to make a lot of money, because an insurance company that makes a lot of money is one also that is not generating a lot of happy customers. You don't need to lose money at scale. So we're not looking to expand across the country. We're not looking to blow up a huge amount of money. This is something that we are trying out in one state in our network, and we will control a lot of the variables, and we'll run it in such a way that generates a lot of customer satisfaction. We'll figure out monetization later. And by the way, most of the health insurance companies aren't making money on their book either at the scale that they have. So clearly, more policies isn't always the ticket for making a lot of money. So let's try something different.
Yeah, the idea is not to lose money. All right, let me just get your take on the core business, the hospital business. Can you share your outlook for the close of FY24 and going into FY25? Where do you see the expansion coming in, the capex coming in?
Most of the capex is in our existing network. We are investing in all our large hospitals in Bangalore, in Calcutta, in refurbishing a lot of the old infrastructure that we have and adding beds, cath labs, radiation oncology, both in Cayman and in India. We're investing in the existing network. Most of these will come online, maybe not by this year, but starting next financial year. And the next 2 years are going to be a very intense build-out phase for us, where we will be spending a lot of capex towards upgrading and adding more infrastructure to what we already have.
It's a conservative approach, isn't it, Viren? Why the hesitation to spread beyond areas where you're already comfortable and well established? I just want to understand the sort of business strategy and outlook.
We're pretty spread out as it is. We're all across the country. We're in Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi. We're in Ahmedabad, Jaipur. It's just that the existing hospitals need a lot more love and attention. They do need a lot more beds. They do need a lot more OTs, and that's where the most immediate need is. Whereas going after new geographies means you're neglecting the older ones.
A lot of analysts are looking at the healthcare sector, and this is, from an investment point of view, as one of the shining sectors of this year, some of the top picks of this year. I want to understand your outlook in terms of what do you think is changing. And, after the sort of spike that was seen post-COVID, etc., it's been a bit of a lull. What is the sort of outlook that you have in terms of footfalls coming in and inpatient versus outpatient?
See, as a country and as a people, Indians are least likely to go for treatment, least likely to take medicine, least likely, even when they know they have a problem, least likely to go after a doctor to get their treatment done. So there is a huge amount of catch-up that is required. Now, what healthcare institutions like us are trying to do is to reduce those barriers to getting treatment by addressing on the cost side, or addressing on the convenience side, or addressing it on the comfort that you have with the doctor side. So a lot of what you're seeing as the post-COVID catch-up pent-up demand, there is some amount of pent-up demand, but there is a huge secular shift towards, as people start living longer, as they start realizing that there are healthcare options that can cure what ails them and allow them to live longer, and by living longer, they can earn more money. It becomes a very easy calculus to make. So the long-term trends is that people will access more healthcare for a very long period of time to come. Now, the onus for us in what we do in response to that is to provide a superlative healthcare experience without burdening people's pocketbooks too much. And that we find is that going after insurance and addressing the affordability angle is a better way to address that, rather than just blindly adding more beds all over the place.
Yeah, just one last question, Viren. Government push for a larger healthcare coverage has grown exponentially in the last few years. And in fact, this is something that all government, state and center want to push. There are subsidies. I want to understand how it plays into the hospital business. Does it help in terms of coverage, or is it a hindrance in terms of the parameters or the conditions that government-run schemes set for you?
So the government Ayushman programs address the people that are earning less than $1 a day. So these are people at the absolute bottom of the pyramid, and these are patients who otherwise have no options available. So for them, this is an absolute lifesaver. Now, every hospital will have certain amount of excess capacity where you may not make money treating these sorts of patients, but on a marginal cost basis. If you say that, fine, at least it pays for the medicine in certain specialties, you can fill up certain excess capacity with those patients. And so for us, about 20% of our beds are kept normally for patients coming under these government programs. And that's good enough. Now, it is not the panacea for the healthcare sector because, like I said, the reimbursement isn't great. It would actually be better served if the government funding went towards a government institution. But anyway, for now, it's going to the private sector. But overall, the larger game for us is addressing affordability through insurance. And that we feel will be a much better way of having more and more people get healthy rather than current system, which is paying out of pocket.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Viren. Pleasure speaking with you on the show this morning. And the big takeaway there, a foray into the health insurance business with a very specific target audience in mind. So that was an interesting conversation to have.